Welcome everybody to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. I know this is a very weird scenario where I'm driving and Crystal's next to me.
Hi guys.
To give everybody a little bit of backstory, earlier this week we talked to Nina Turner and we had a wonderful conversation with her. And you're about to see that in a second, but after we talked to Nina, we got some brand new information, which is, directly relevant to her race. We'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. And so, we had to record it now. We're in New York. We're going to do a Breaking Point show at a studio in New York. So it's, a little special event thingy that we're doing. And so, Crystal, why don't you go ahead and tell them what the news is on Nina Turner and, why we're recording this in a car at a very awkward time.
Yeah, so there's two things. There's good news and there's bad news. I'll start with the good news, which is that Senator Bernard Sanders has come in to endorse Nina in her race for Congress. As you guys probably know and recall, this is her second time running for Congress. Last time around, she narrowly lost in the Democratic primary in a special election to Shontel Brown, corporate-backed candidate, tons of outside money flooded in from corporate interests, pharmaceutical interests, Trump backing Republicans. I mean, every sort of nefarious group you can imagine came in to flood the zone for Shontel Brown, who ends up winning by about 6 points. So Nina has decided to run again. And there are some reasons to believe this time might be different than the last time. In particular, the district lines are drawn a bit differently and include a more progressive electorate. So that's the backstory. Good news is primaries in early May, and Bernie Sanders came in to back Nina, which, is expected in one sense because, of course, Nina's been there for him in every way, serving as national co-chair of his campaign, being probably his most effective advocate and surrogate.
At the next light, turn right.
He comes in for her.
Excuse us on the directions.
The very next day, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, led by Pramila Jayapal, endorses against Nina, actively endorses the corporate-backed incumbent Shontel Brown, who is a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which shows you how meaningless such a thing is, and is also a member
turn right onto North Street
of the Blue Dog New Democrat Caucus, the Josh Gottheimer, all those corporate ghoulish people. The very fact that you could be a member of both of those caucuses is absurd.
No, you can't. It's a total and utter ideological contradiction. So to say that you're a member of both really means I believe in nothing and I'm only here in Washington, D.C. playing a game. And Shontel Brown, so she's not only, not a progressive. I would argue she's actively conservative. So, for example, she's one of, I think, 18 Democrats that just decided
turn left.
We're going to try to throw a wrench into the Iran deal renegotiation.
Yeah.
She is just a total, complete corporate hack, ladder climber, narcissist. But now back to the Pramila Jayapal thing. Pramila Jayapal is supposed to be the leader of the so-called Congressional Progressive Caucus. These are supposed to be the Democrats who are more principled and actually care more about the policies. Crystal, I don't know, try to talk me down off the ledge here if you disagree. But when I look at that, the fact of the matter to me is Pramila Jayapal simply is not driven by the things that she pretends to be driven by, oh, I care about Medicare for all. Oh, I care about a $15 minimum wage. No, you don't. Because if you did, you would absolutely back the person who's a proven fighter for these things, and you wouldn't back the totally vapid, vacuous, corporate-backed candidate, Shontel Brown, who's been beyond a disaster. And so, look, to me, when I look at this situation, what I see is Pramila Jayapal is ladder climbing. That's what she's doing. Pramila Jayapal is under this fucking delusion that Nancy Pelosi is going to handpick her to be the next Speaker of the House. I got news for you, Pramila Jayapal. It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to be Hakeem Jeffries. They already think of you as an enemy, even though Pramila Jayapal is not really an enemy of Pelosi. She's been a terrible, weak leader of the progressives. She's one of the reasons why the progressives at the last minute decided to back off the deal that was originally made on Build Back Better. Look, we'll put the traditional infrastructure bill, but the only way you get that is if you also vote for Build Back Better. She's one of the reasons, we trust Biden. No, we're just going to go ahead and vote for the traditional infrastructure bill. You've been had. You've been took. And there was not a single moment of reckoning on that, Crystal, where they were like, you know what? The 6 Democrats or 7 Democrats like AOC and Cori Bush and whoever decided we're going to stand by the original deal. Nobody ever said, hey, by the way, you guys were objectively correct. You were proven correct. We were wrong. We got hoodwinked.
Yeah. And in fact, it's the contrary. I know you covered this, Kyle, this week. If anything, they've gone in the direction of saying, like, oh, we should have bent further and faster. Like,
That's right. That's what Rokana said.
Yeah, that came from Rokana, and I have a feeling we'd get a similar line from Pramila Jayapal. I wanted to read what David Sirota, who has a great piece out at The Lever, really spelling out the betrayal and selling out of the left of the party and the progressive movement by Pramila Jayapal and the Congressional Progressive Caucus. He tweeted yesterday, let's be clear, this is very likely Pramila Jayapal selling out the entire movement because of her unbridled ambitions to get a fancy but meaningless leadership title among a House Dem caucus that will be obliterated in the midterm elections, a total betrayal on every level. And it's even worse than that because she's not even going to be successful in getting the fancy title, right? Like, the corporate wing of the party, it doesn't matter how much you guys suck up to them, how many little pats on the head you get from Pelosi or from Ron Klain or from Biden himself. They see you as an enemy to be destroyed. That's why the corporate wing of the party went all in to back Shontel Brown and make sure Nina Turner never made it to Congress. And so if you are now just lining up with them, like, just drop the label. Stop pretending. I wish you'd just be honest about what you are at this point.
Yes.
You know, the other piece that Sirota points to in his piece out at The Lever this morning is what you said, Kyle, about Build Back Better, and how after the Virginia election results come in and Glenn Youngkin, you know, spanks Democrats, they get all freaked out. Oh, the media starts saying, oh, it's all the left's fault, et cetera, and they immediately cave. But even before that, they completely caved and abandoned their principles on the $15 minimum wage. Recall that when Bernie endorsed Joe Biden, the one thing that he got as like an agreement out of Joe was $15 minimum wage. That was the first thing they talked about. The moment there was any resistance to that whatsoever, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which claimed this was one of their top priorities, immediately abandoned ship, and now it's not even being talked about. I mean, it's like completely fallen out of the national discourse. Something that would be great for the population, is overwhelmingly popular, is a core progressive principle. So listen, I would say it's a mask off moment, but the truth is the mask has been off for a while now. That under Pramila Jayapal's leadership at the beginning, we got some words about, oh, we're going to take a more hard line. We're going to be more organized. We're going to really focus on, you know, just having true progressives in the caucus. That is all long gone. And clearly the true goal that she has in mind is whatever her own personal aspirations and individual ambitions are here, and it's a fucking shame.
So let me ask you this question, because I really do think it comes down to this. Is the reality in terms of what's going on in her head, what's going on in the heads of all these so-called congressional progressives, that, look, I'm an honest actor, I really care about these policies that I virtue signal like I care about.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm trying to play the inside game and get the wins that I can, and in order to do that, I have to appease Pelosi and stay on her good side, and this is one of those ways in which I'm appeasing Pelosi to stay on her good side. And ultimately, I'm a sucker, because even though, you know, I might think Pelosi's going to give me the speakership position, she's not going to give it to me. Like, that's one possibility. The other possibility is, they're just fucking in on the game completely. You know what I mean? Like, there really is, it's long gone, the idea that they really care about the $15 minimum wage and Medicare for all. Because the fact of the matter is, if you really did care about those things, there's no question you would back Nina Turner. It's not a question.
Right.
Because you have somebody who's a flat-out opponent of those things who you're now endorsing. I mean, guys, they didn't even make the political calculation of, like, I'm just going to stay out of the race because I prefer Nina, but Shontel Brown is already here. They didn't even do that. They are endorsing Shontel Brown. So that tells me that really what it all comes down to, particularly for Pramila Jayapal, is I want to climb the ladder of the party. I want to get the big title. You know, I think Pelosi is going to do me favors if I do her favors, and so that's why I'm doing this. But in the process of doing that, what they don't understand, Crystal, is that not a single fucking progressive in the country who even pays a little bit of attention is ever going to trust you again. And they shouldn't trust you again, because you keep proving, like, yeah, I'm really your ideological enemy. I'm really your ideological enemy. And to your point, I think the reason why it hurts so much is because, at least with some of like the blue dog Democrats, there's never even any pretending that they're on your side.
Right.
Here you have the
It's
no,
very clear.
we're with you, and then they do something like this.
Stab you in the back.
There is you can't make some sort of high-minded strategic argument as to no, in the long run, this actually makes sense for our goals, because there is not even a fake argument in that vein.
No.
So it's just absolutely pathetic. Look, I don't do this often, but I will say, everybody should tell, Pramila Jayapal, be respectful and everything, but just tell her how you feel about this. Call her office and say, I'm really let down and heartbroken that you would endorse that you would endorse Chantel Brown over Nina Turner. Tweet her, say, I can't believe you did this. This is a betrayal. Be respectful. Don't ever, under any circumstances, do any threats or anything like that. But look, make some noise. Let them know we're fucking watching you. And here we are right now, Crystal, at a time where Joe Biden has a historically low approval rating of 33%. A poll just came out showing that. He is now more unpopular with young people than Trump was with young people at this point
in the same exact poll.
In the same
at
exact
this point
poll.
in his presidency, Trump was more popular with young people.
So now
unbelievable.
Now would be the time where if the progressives were serious, they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Caution to the wind. We're going all in. We'll go to war with the leadership of the party. We're going to block any bill unless Joe Biden breaks out that executive order pen and abolishes student loan debt and legalizes marijuana. This is the path that we need. By the way, not just for the Democratic Party, but also for the entire fucking country. And the strategy that they've chosen and the path that they're going down is literally the exact opposite. Let's cuck ourselves to the establishment. Let's cuck ourselves to Pelosi and Schumer and Biden. Do whatever they want. Watch the poll numbers continue to drop, and then all of us will get shellacked and wiped out across the country.
Yeah.
To say they are the biggest failure I could imagine is an understatement.
Well, the last thing that I'll say about this is I also think it really underscores why you should support Nina, which is clearly she has a different attitude and different view about these things. And you know what else? If Nina gets elected into that seat, she doesn't owe a single person a fucking thing. And you know what? Ultimately, that would be such a gift. She wouldn't owe her election to Pramila Jayapal or the Progressive Caucus. She sure as hell knows who the real enemies are in Congress. And so I think this is just another proof point of why she could be a really effective leader and help some of the, supposed allies in Congress grow a little bit of backbone and have some strategic savvy about how to use their power in an effective way. She's not going to get confused about maybe if I'm nice to Nancy Pelosi, I'm going to get a title for myself. That is not Nina Turner. She will never be that person. I've known her personally for a long time. I think we've all seen how fierce she is and the way that she has held up and stood up even under great pressure. So to me, it's just more proof why we need to back Nina and get her into Congress.
And by the way, look, I've always said this. I'm not for purity of character tests. I don't care about what happened in your past. I don't care about edgy, politically incorrect, or terrible things you've said in the past. I'm not for purity of character tests. I am for purity of policy tests. Because if you're telling, there's no argument to say, yeah, you should be able to be a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and, the Blue Dog Democrats at the sime time. That's like saying you should be a member of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party in Washington, D.C. at the same time. It makes no sense. They're not, ideologically, that's not coherent. That's not logical. You can't do that. But you have these people who do it, and they, act like it's fine. It's like, no. And by the way, whenever there's an option, it's always default to they mean the more conservative one because that's how they end up legislating.
Of course. There's no one who's in the new Democrat caucus who's secretly a real lefty progressive.
Right.
It's all the other way around. The progressive label, Chantel Brown sees that it was very close between her and Nina last time around. She wanted to shore up her left flank, be able to say, what are you talking about? I'm a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Of course I'm on the left. Of course I'm a progressive. Of course I support the same things. So it was just about her trying to co-opt a label that is not in any way reflective of her true goals, aspirations, and ideology.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how pathetic and disappointing Pramila Jayapal is, the rest of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Ro Khanna, who I did the downfall of Ro Khanna segment the other day, and you're not you guys are done. Like, nobody trusts you.
Just
Nobody
irrelevant.
believes you. You blew any credibility you had because very clearly you're all trying to play the inside game and getting fucking hosed in the process.
Yeah.
Like I just said, if you wanted to try the inside game, okay, fair enough. But then you have to be honest about the results and then adjust course when necessary. And the total implosion of the Build Back Better strategy, like Build Back Better paired with the traditional infrastructure bill, all of you guys folded, then all of you guys lost, and then not a single one of you was like, damn, we really fucked that up, we should have stuck to the original deal. They're saying the opposite, we should have caved sooner. So what that tells people is, this strategy is never gonna work. This strategy is never gonna get us to where we need to be. And so, why would you expect anybody to trust you and vote for you? Like, for the love of God, be responsive to the people, be responsive to the base. Nobody gives a fuck if you have a good relationship with Biden or Manchin. Nobody fucking cares. It might feel like it means a lot to you. Oh, how are the kids? All the kids are great. Let's have a backslap and drink a fucking whiskey together. Nobody cares. People don't have health care. They don't have higher wages. They're struggling right now. And you guys are MIA in the actual fight to get it done. And again, that's why I'm such a strong supporter of Nina Turner. Because there's one thing I know for sure about Nina Turner. I always said this. The biggest mistake we made with Justice Democrats was not vetting for leadership qualities. Because on paper, you could say, oh, these people agree with me on all the policies. But that's not enough if they don't know how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And you need leadership qualities. Like you said before, the thing about Nina Turner that makes her phenomenal is that I have no doubt in my mind, she's a natural born leader. And she will do anything that she possibly can in order to get the policies that we want implemented. And Amy Vilela, too, is another great example of this. Amy Vilela lost her daughter because of our shitty for-profit healthcare system. So her whole life's mission is to try to get Medicare for all, to make sure there's not another situation like that happens to some other parent.
Yeah, and
so,
you can be damn sure she's not going to get confused when she gets to Washington about what the real fight is.
So these are people who I trust. These are people who've proven themselves over and over. These are people who actually have leadership qualities, not this pathetic, sad, tag-along, insider game, cuck yourself to Nancy Pelosi, then have Nancy Pelosi spit in your eye, and then you bend the knee even further. I have no interest in that whatsoever. To not have the moral clarity to endorse Nina Turner over Shontel Brown is exactly like the people who pretended like, oh, I'm a good progressive, and endorsed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in 2016. Mm-hmm. You are absolute frauds. You're frauds. You don't understand. We hate you. Like, I genuinely hate you. I felt legit pain when I heard Pramila Jayapal, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, stabbed Nina Turner in the back. One of the few people who's actually a genuine fighter for the people. Well, we see you, and we know you're not, Pramila, and we know you're not. For anybody else in the Congressional Progressive Caucus who's not doing the right thing. And look, I'm a fair guy. I'm not like one of these people who acts like, oh, the politicians are exactly the same, and the squad is just as bad as fucking, like, Chuck Grassley. Fuck out of here with that garbage. There's plenty of examples of Ilhan Omar standing up and doing the right thing. Just recently, she said, I don't want to sanction all the Russian economy. That's going to hurt Russian civilians. There's a real difference. Cori Bush, who fought the eviction moratorium and went out there and slept on the fucking street in order to do that. So I'm not of the group that's like, they're all bad, they're all the same. And I'm not trying to feed that narrative right now. We have to be nuanced, we have to be intelligent. And the fact of the matter is, I'll give credit where it's due, but in this instance, ain't no fucking credit to anybody except Nina Turner, who's standing up against a tsunami and a tidal wave of vitriol and hatred and backstabbing.
Yeah, but if she's able to win, this is as clarifying as it comes, and she'll know exactly who the real allies are in Washington.
Go donate to Nina Turner. Go support Nina Turner. I'm about to throw my mortgage on her campaign because just out of fucking spite, because I can't stand what happened to her.
Yeah. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the conversation with the aforementioned Nina Turner.